Alexa, what's the weather?
Currently, in Alexandria, it's 74 degrees Fahrenheit with mostly cloudy skies. Today, you can expect thunderstorms with a high of 85 degrees and a low of 73 degrees.
June 2020, we hooked up and got ready to head to Tennessee. We pulled in at the rest area at Lake Nickjack and noticed there they've got a park area with a few almost hiking type trails and places to picnic. You could almost make a day just going to the rest area here off of I-24 at Lake Nickjack in Tennessee. Once again, our location for staying here in the Lebanon Mount Juliet area is at Cedar Creek Army Corps of Engineers campground, and we end up staying over in Site 33. There's no sewer hookup here, but they do have water and electricity, and we check our power every time we plug in and found that the 30 amp breaker had a reversed polarity. It always pays to double check before you plug in and turn on your camper. And but that was easily remedied, and the folks were glad that we had checked it out so they could fix it up for us. Next morning we got up and hit the lake. Old Hickory Lake here on the river is a beautiful lake, and there's a shallow area, fairly shallow, right around the campground, and we spent some time paddling around there. Evelyn helps me out here with my filmography, and she did a pretty good job for her first time. It was nice to get all 5 of us in the boat for a change. We have two 13-foot tandem kayaks that we can get our whole family in. Evelyn sits in the middle, and she's fixing to tell you this is her second time kayaking. Thanks, Evelyn. That afternoon, after a few lightsaber battles, we headed into town to pick up an order that we had made before heading up to visit my cousin and his family, and got to play with their kids. His son here letting us know that he chops up monsters.
Chop up monsters.
I chop up monsters.
My cousin and his wife fixed supper for us. We had steak and lasagna, and mainly steak. After supper and playing with the kids, we watched some of the wildlife in their backyard and at a drainage pond that's there, watching the kingfishers and the cats. And they thought they had an otter, but he looked strange to me. And we figured out after he crawled up, we heard a crash in the underbrush and saw him dragging this branch through the pond, that it was a beaver. The next morning we went back out on the lake and paddled around. I got to go out by myself and paddle and check out this little island. Unfortunately, while kayaking, I am not brave enough to use my good camera, so I use this little action cam. But this island was loaded with several different species of birds, both large and small. Everything from there was everything from blue and white herons to ducks to small songbirds and of course turtles. But very beautiful lake, very beautiful time of the morning to be out on the water before everybody else gets up and starts splashing around. That night we did some s'mores, and then there was this fellow doing what squirrels do when there's no Linda bread. After goofing off that morning and spending some time on the lake, we went and met some of my family for luncheon that afternoon, and then eventually we made our way over to Cumberland College, where the folks there at Cumberland had allowed my niece's school to use their facility because they were hit by the tornado up there in Lebanon, Tennessee, and so they were using their theater, and we got to see, along with our family, my niece starring in Thoroughly Modern Millie, I believe is the name of the show. But of course, without further ado, I give you Abigail Rose. And of course, she was the best person on the stage. Not that I'm biased in any way, but I mean, really, she just was. And if you don't believe me, well, you can just listen to this. Yep, she was the best. Other words from other. Hey, wait a minute. Watch your hands there, buddy. No, it was a great show. The cast and crew were fantastic. They'd only put this together in just a few weeks' time, but they did great, and it was a pleasure to go and watch. When we finally made it back home the next weekend, we were blessed to have opportunity for me and Katie to go by ourselves. You see, we left our kids with someone. You may have heard of her. Linda is her name. Anyway, we left the kids with Miss Linda and went up to Terrapin Creek there near Piedmont, Alabama, and got to use our kayak to float down the river. It was a Friday, and so there weren't many people on the river at all. There was also not a lot of water in the river at all, which would not be a problem if we were in single boats, but being in a tandem kayak with myself and Katie in it, I had no idea she would weigh so much, and we got stuck on the rocks a few times, but eventually, we got off the rocks and got back underway. And so our adventure for the first part of June came to an end. Thank you again for all of you who've been such a blessing in helping us get out and enjoy the world around us. It has been a real blessing for myself and for Katie and for all the kids as well. We could not have done it without gifts and prayers that you all have offered up for us. And please do keep us in your prayers. We hope that you and your family will be blessed, that you've enjoyed the video, and that you'll join us on our next adventure. We'll see you then. God bless.